You're standing in Tesco, filling your trolley with what you think is safe food. But here's something the stores won't tell you. Right now, you're likely holding products containing ingredients that Europe looked at and said, the risk is too high for our citizens. Since Brexit, the UK has quietly made different decisions about what goes in your food. And while politicians promised taking back control would raise standards, the reality might shock you. One ingredient in particular, you'll find it in cake decorations, sweets and sauces. Europe banned it in 2022 after reviewing 10,000 studies. The UK looked at the same evidence and said it's perfectly safe. Someone's got this wrong. I'm going to show you exactly what's on Tesco shelves that most of Europe won't touch. And by the end, you'll know what to avoid. Let's start with the one that shocked even the Tesco employees I spoke with. Walk down the baking aisle at Tesco and you'll see cake decorations, icing and white confectionery. Innocent enough. Look closer at the ingredients and you might spot E171, titanium dioxide. It's the same compound used in paint and sunscreen. In food, it makes things brilliantly white and opaque. Europe banned it completely on August 7, 2022. The European Food Safety Authority reviewed approximately 10,000 studies. Their conclusion: titanium dioxide can no longer be considered as safe when used as a food additive. The concern isn't about large particles, it's about the nanoparticles, tiny fragments that can pass through your gut's lining and accumulate in your organs. The studies showed these particles can cause DNA strand breaks and chromosomal damage in cells. Here's what makes this terrifying. EFSA couldn't establish a safe level. Not keep it under 10 milligrams. Not limit exposure for children. They couldn't find any amounts they were comfortable calling safe. France actually moved faster than the rest of Europe, banning it in 2020, after their own research showed the particles building up in liver and spleen tissue. The UK's response? In March 2022, the Food Standards Agency announced titanium dioxide would remain completely legal in Britain. Their exact words: no safety concerns have been identified. Same evidence, opposite conclusions. According to one Tesco shelf stacker I spoke with, we had customers coming in asking about the EU ban, confused why products still contained it. Management told us to direct questions to customer service. Nobody wanted to explain why Europe banned something we're still selling. The UK's reasoning comes down to philosophy. They set a safe threshold of 10 milligrams per kilogram of body weight daily. The EU said that's impossible when you can't rule out DNA damage. Where you'll find E171 at Tesco: cake decorations and icing, some white sweets and confectionery coatings, certain sauces, particularly horseradish, and chewing gum. But titanium dioxide isn't the only split. The next one is sitting in almost every Tesco trolley right now, and you'd never know it. Here's where things get more complicated. You've probably heard that artificial food dyes are banned in Europe. That's not quite true. But what is true might be worse. Sunset Yellow E110, Carmazine E122, Ponceau 4R E124, Allura Red E129. These are called the Southampton 6. In 2007, researchers at Southampton University tested 297 children. Double-blind study, peer-reviewed, published in The Lancet. They gave some kids drinks with these artificial colours. Others got placebos. The results were statistically significant. For 8 and 9-year-olds, hyperactivity scores increased dramatically. The EU didn't ban these colours. Instead, they did something arguably more damning. Since July 2010, any product containing them must carry this warning: may have an adverse effect on activity and attention in children. Imagine you're a parent in the sweets aisle. 2 identical products. One says it might affect your child's behaviour. Which are you buying? According to food industry insiders, this warning label functioned as a de facto ban. No manufacturer wanted it on their packaging. And here's where it gets interesting for Tesco shoppers. In 2008, Tesco pledged to remove these colours from all own-brand products by year-end. That was 2 years before the EU mandate even took effect. I searched through hundreds of Tesco products looking for these dyes. Own-brand items? Clean. Almost completely reformulated. I found exactly one Tesco product still containing them. Tesco Halal beefsteak in the tandoori marinade. It contains E122, E124, E129, E102 and E104. Check the label. It carries the required warning. It's perfectly legal. But here's what shocked me. British Skittles, bought at Tesco, list only natural colours. The same Skittles in America? Red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6. Mars, Nestlé and other manufacturers maintain 2 different recipes. Natural colours for Europe, where there's regulatory pressure. Synthetics for America, where there isn't. The cost difference is substantial. Natural alternatives like beetroot extract and paprika cost 10 to 100 times more than synthetic dyes. A 2024 review in the journal Carcinogenesis found temporal correlations between synthetic dye consumption surges in the 1970s and 80s and early-onset colorectal cancer increases from the 1990s onward. Allura Red, the most common, metabolizes into DNA-reactive compounds. The paper stops short of calling it carcinogenic, but the phrase they used was growing interest in potential colon health impacts. So these dyes aren't banned in the UK or EU, but the warning requirement changed the market anyway. And that leads us to something genuinely alarming, that you're touching every time you shop. This one isn't about what's in your food, it's about what your food is wrapped in. BPA, bisphenol A, is in metal can linings, reusable plastic bottles, and food packaging across Tesco. You can't taste it, you can't see it, but it's migrating into your food every time plastic or metal contacts something fatty or acidic. Here's the shocking part. In April 2023, the European Food Safety Authority reassessed BPA. They'd reviewed it before in 2015 and said 4 micrograms per kilogram of body weight daily was safe. The new assessment reviewed 800 additional studies published since 2015. Their new safe limit? 0.2 nanograms per kilogram daily. That's not a typo. They lowered the acceptable exposure by 20,000 times. Why? Because the new research showed BPA causes potentially harmful effects on immune system, even at incredibly low doses. It's an endocrine disruptor. It mimics hormones in your body, confusing your cells. Studies link it to reproductive problems, certain cancers, liver damage, thyroid disease, and developmental issues in children. The EU implemented a comprehensive BPA ban in December 2024. The UK? We're still using the 2015 threshold. That makes British safety standards 20,000 times less protective than current European ones. One Tesco employee explained, "Customers ask us about BPA-free products all the time. We can show them bottles that say BPA-free on the label, but the canned goods, the metal tins, there's nothing we can tell them, because there's no requirement to label it or remove it." To be fair, the Food Standards Agency launched a consultation in June 2025 about following the EU ban. The decision is expected late 2025 or early 2026. But until then, every canned soup, tinned tomato, and reusable water bottle at Tesco potentially contains BPA at levels 20,000 times higher than what Europe now considers safe. France went even further than the EU, banning BPA entirely from all food packaging ahead of EU-wide restrictions. British shoppers? We're still waiting. And, speaking of packaging, the next issue makes BPA look simple. PFAS stands for per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances. There are over 10,000 different PFAS chemicals. They're called forever chemicals because they don't break down. Not in your body, not in the environment, not for thousands of years. You find them in food packaging designed to resist grease and water, fast food wrappers, microwave popcorn bags, pizza boxes, baking paper. The problem? These chemicals leach into your food. Once in your body, they accumulate. They don't leave. The EU banned PFAS in food contact materials through Commission Regulation EU 2024-2606 in October 2024. The phase-out timeframes vary. Baking trays and cooking utensils get 18 months. Most food packaging gets 2 years. Complex industrial applications get up to 5 years. The UK, we're consulting. A 2024 government working group recommended following the EU ban, but no timeline yet. Denmark moved faster than everyone else, banning PFAS in food packaging in 2020. According to CDC studies, PFAS are detectable in the blood of 97 to 99% of Americans. UK data is similar. They're linked to kidney and testicular cancer, thyroid disease, immune system damage, liver damage, and developmental effects in children. One Tesco bakery worker told me, "The greaseproof paper we use for cakes and pastries, nobody's told us whether it contains PFAS. We handle it all day. Customers take food home wrapped in it, but there's no labelling requirement, so we have no idea." Some manufacturers have switched to PFAS-free alternatives, but without UK regulations requiring it, you're gambling on which packaging materials Tesco's suppliers have chosen. In Northern Ireland, under the Windsor framework, the EU ban applies. In England, Wales, Scotland, you're still exposed to forever chemicals that accumulate in your body and never leave. Here's one where Britain deserves credit. Brominated vegetable oil, BVO, was banned in the UK in 1970. That's 55 years ago. Europe didn't follow until 2008. America? The FDA only banned it in July 2024. BVO is used in citrus-flavored drinks to stop the flavoring from floating to the top. It contains bromine, the same element in flame retardants. It accumulates in body fat, your liver, your heart, your brain. A documented 1997 medical case described a patient drinking over 2 litres of BVO-containing cola daily who developed severe bromism. Headaches, fatigue, memory loss, neurological problems, inability to walk. He required hemodialysis treatment. The UK banned it after a 1970 study found high bromine levels in fat tissues from UK children due to brominated vegetable oils. You won't find BVO at Tesco because it's been illegal in Britain for half a century. But it illustrates an important point. The narrative that Europe has superior food safety and Britain is racing to the bottom is too simple. Sometimes the UK led. Sometimes Europe leads. Sometimes America eventually catches up. The question isn't who's better. It's, are the standards moving in the right direction? And on that measure, the final items reveal a worrying pattern. BHA E320 and BHT E321 are antioxidant preservatives that stop fats and oils from going rancid. You'll find them in cereals, snacks, processed meats, and baked goods. Here's where it gets complicated. They're not fully banned anywhere, but they're heavily restricted, with different countries taking different positions. BHA is classified as possibly carcinogenic by the International Agency for Research on Cancer. What should you actually do? Read labels. E171 appears on ingredients lists. BPA-free products advertise it. PFAS-free packaging exists if you look for it. Shop in Northern Ireland if you want EU standards. Shop in England, Wales or Scotland and you're playing by different rules. The promise of Brexit was taking back control of our standards. Well, we've taken control. The question is what we're doing with it. Which ingredient shocked you most? Drop a comment. And if this helped you make better shopping choices, subscribe for more real information that supermarkets won't tell you. Thanks for watching.